Nintendo is experimenting with the Switch 2, and they're doing it with this methodology that I honestly noticed years ago. But now that the Switch is near the end of its life, they're really hammering it home. And so now more than ever, I have to talk about it. I'm starting this story back in 2017 when Nintendo released Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS. I remember when that came out, it was such a big deal because Nintendo hadn't made a 2D Metroid game like that since Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance in 2004. That's 13 years. Not long before that, they put like Metroid Federation Force on the 3DS, and like obviously it didn't really do that well because like why? I still don't get why they made that game. But I did have this thought. What if this could actually lead to finally a brand new entry in the series? Maybe this will sell well and it'll finally get the new entry it deserves. Well, 4 years later, they released Metroid Dread for the Switch in 2021. And I looked at that game. I'm like, that's exactly what they did. They looked at Metroid Samus Returns and went, okay, we like this game. We approve of the formula. Sales are good. Let's greenlight a brand new Metroid game in this style. And they did it. And that's exactly how they did it. Now, you know what I was thinking after that? It sure is cool that they returned to the Metroid series, but man, I sure wish they would return to Metroid Prime because I really miss Metroid Prime. And then, 2 years later, they released Metroid Prime Remastered, which is just so good. And I went, oh my god, they did it again. And by then it'd been announced that Prime 4 was in development, but I still took notice that this came first. And it doesn't even end there, but yes, that's what Nintendo's doing. They're using these re-releases to test the waters for spiritual successors. And I expect them to continue to. You know what else got this treatment? You know what remake I really liked, actually? Link's Awakening. That was so good, and it sold really well. And now we have Echoes of Wisdom, and it's like exact style. You know what other remake we got? Super Mario RPG. Did you notice that Mario and Luigi Brothership was announced exactly 1 year after Mario RPG? Just saying. And the Mario and Luigi series was always kind of like a spiritual successor to Super Mario RPG anyway. It just makes sense to me. What else? I feel like there's so many. Mario Party. Mario Party went through a lot of stages. I feel like at first they had it figured out until they started experimenting with the series around like the Wii era when all the characters started sharing a car, and that was awful. I don't get why they ever did that. I still regret buying that game. And then on the Wii U, they shared a car too, and so that was also still like really awful. And then they started experimenting with the series, like even when they stopped sharing that stupid car, like the maps, they look like this. And then over time, they started like working their way back to the original formula. And the first Mario Party game on Switch, which was Super Mario Party, was like the best modern Mario Party at the time. And by that point, they were so close. And then with the next Mario Party, they nailed it. But the reason they nailed it was because it wasn't a remake, but it was the reuse of old elements in the new Mario Party game. They used old mini games and old maps from the classic titles, the ones that are the most revered, which fits into this video because it kind of has like the spirit of a remake or re-release. You get where I'm going with this. And next, they announced Mario Party Jamboree, which is just it. It's all the things that we loved about the old titles in combination with a bunch of new stuff that is just so good. Like its new online mode. You can play with up to 40 different characters. And the maps just look amazing and beautifully complex. And oh, I love it. I'm so excited to play it. I haven't played it yet, but I will. Anyway, so what is that so far? That's Metroid Samus Returns to Metroid Dread, Link's Awakening to Echoes of Wisdom, Metroid Prime to Metroid Prime 4, Mario Party Superstars to Jamboree, Mario RPG to Brothership. That's a lot. And so with all that history, you've got to look at that and that and that and that. What do these mean? Let's talk about it. Mario versus Donkey Kong. You know what I've noticed about that community? And I know it is like a relatively niche-er community, but in my time observing them, I've noticed that there is a reoccurring theme. Even though like they enjoy the mini Marios, I often see people complaining about wanting to control Mario again. That's a pretty common thing that I've seen. I personally never minded the mini Marios, but I get it. And I get why that would be a desired thing, to want to control the character again and for it to be like a normal character and not like a toy. For some people, it just feels better to play as Mario. So it goes like this. This new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game is a remake of the one that came out on the GBA when you originally played as Mario. And then after that one, we got the one on Nintendo DS, Mario vs. Donkey Kong March of the Minis, where you still controlled the characters, but you controlled the mini Marios, which played pretty differently than Mario. After that, we got Minis March Again, which was the first game where you don't control the mini Marios at all, and rather you guided the mini Marios. And then from there, we got Miniland Mayhem, which no one talks about for some reason, but it was basically the same thing. And then the series went 3D, but that was like a small indicator, I think, that they were starting to experiment with the series. And then we had like Tipping Stars on the Wii U, which introduced this like community aspect thing where you could like tip stars. I kind of just went, okay, well, this series is in an experimental phase now. And that was in 2015. And then they stopped for actually 9 years. Can you believe it's been 9 years? And they put the series down and they returned to the series once again with a remake of the first Mario and Luigi, the one that most people unanimously liked. Does this mean that we're going to get a new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game soon? And if we do, that we are going to play as Mario? Perchance. Next, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. So when the original Kirby's Return to Dreamland came out on the Wii, it was highly praised and it was the first Kirby game in the modern style. And then they came out with Kirby Triple Deluxe, which also got really good reception, but it wasn't quite to the level of Kirby's Return to Dreamland. And then the next Kirby game came out, Kirby Planet Robobot, which also got pretty good reception, but the reception kind of went down a bit with each title. And then Kirby Star Allies came out, which honestly got terrible reception. And so once again, here's Nintendo remaking the best, most praised entry in the series. Does this mean that we are going to get a new 2D Kirby game in the likeness of Kirby's Return to Dreamland? Perchance. Donkey Kong Country Returns. Okay, you know why I think there's so many re-releases of that game already in the style of either remakes or remasters or whatever? Like, I honestly think that all the other ones were cash grabs, but I think this one is to test the series, to like lay the potential groundwork for a new Donkey Kong Country game. Finally! Yes, I do. And lastly, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I do think they were testing the waters of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Like, they've been experimenting with that series for so long. If you don't know, like, the whole fiasco that is Paper Mario and its history and, like, the way they experimented with the series, it's a whole rabbit hole. But I will tell you this, the basic premise of it all is they had a formula, there was an RPG formula, everyone loved it, and then they left it behind for Super Paper Mario, which was like not preferable, but people still liked it because the story was really good. And then like Sticker Star, Color Splash, and Origami King happened, and then like everyone hated Sticker Star because there were no RPG elements and the gameplay was super bland. And then Color Splash happened, and most people felt the same way, even though the gameplay wasn't as bland, because people were just mad that like we didn't have like the elements that we wanted and Nintendo wasn't listening to us. And then they gave us Origami King, and that one got mixed reception because even though it's not an RPG, the gameplay was really good. And so then people were divided. That's the basics. But most people basically agreed that we just really just want them to go back to the old style, damn it. And so they eventually developed ears, and they're testing the waters with Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. And I do think that's what this remake was for, and they wanted to see how it would perform because for some reason they're so afraid of the RPG formula that they have to apply this like methodology to reapproaching the RPG formula in Paper Mario to make sure that they're not going to lose money. And I do want this return to form in a brand new entry in the series. I think it is kind of a shame that it didn't sell as well as like Mario RPG, but who knows, because I really don't expect people to go back or change their minds about the Paper Mario series, especially after them releasing this Thousand-Year Door remake. Can you imagine if they release a brand new entry in the Paper Mario series and it's like Color Splash and Origami King again after doing that and it's not an RPG? It feels like it would be so inappropriate to do after something like that. That, I don't know, if we get another Paper Mario game, I still think there's a decent chance that it could be an RPG, even though its sales aren't that great, because I just can't imagine a reality where they have the gall to go back to the non-RPG formula after basically telling all of us that they've heard us this whole time. Like, that would just look really bad. So, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they get better marketing tactics, and I actually want to make a video on why I think Thousand Year Door didn't sell so great. That's a good video idea, actually. But anyway, yeah, that's my theory, and I think it's pretty good. What do you think? Can you think of any re-releases that I may have missed that has the potential to result in some kind of spiritual successor? Or can you think of one that did result in a spiritual successor that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and also subscribe. And of course, until next time, I've been the cool one. Peace out, everybody, and I will catch you in the next one.